So welcome to the webinar. Just before we get started, just a couple of things to note. If you haven't been on a Zoom webinar, you've just been on a Zoom meeting, then it's a slightly different format. And we use this for sort of larger events like this. So that's the reason for it. If you need to raise a question, then there is a Q&A button at the bottom, which you can press. So that's a good way of doing, and just a that gives you an opportunity to do that. And we'll do a full introduction in a sec. But if you want to ask any Q&As, that's fine. Also, just to note, so you will have booked yourself onto the event through Eventbrite. So the event is a Kent and Medway Growth Hub event, which we are really excited to be delivering. And so we have popped into the webinar chat the link to the Eventbrite channel for Kent and Medway Growth Hub. So if you've got a quick minute, just click on that, and then you can press the follow button, and then that will update you about all of the events. And we've got a whole series of events that are planned over the next 3 months, which are part of the Accelerate program, sorry. Which I think are really exciting opportunities covering a whole series of different types. So we will wait for one more minute, and then I will do a full introduction. Okay, so good afternoon, and welcome to the first in the series of the Accelerate events for the Kent and Medway Growth Hub. My name is Jeff Baxter, and I'm part of Smart Society. We are the delivery provider for the Kent and Medway Growth Hub for the Accelerate events, and I'm delighted to be welcoming you to the first one. So just for the benefit of anyone that's joined already or that's joined recently, the Kent and Medway Growth Hub is a really important business support initiative covering any business in the Kent and Medway area. We will be providing details out for all of the relevant links of how you can get support from the Kent and Medway Growth Hub, and the support is not just events; it's also really good helpline. It's also got other events. It's got programs for business support. So for any business, from somebody that's just thinking about starting up right up to established businesses, then it's well worth getting in contact with them. So we will be sending out a signposting document which includes all the links that you need to there and other Kent-based business support opportunities after the event. Also, just to note, we've put the link in for the Eventbrite channel. That provides you with details of any events that we're running, and there is a whole series of events planned. I think also just to note around the events, we've got an event coming up, our first face-to-face event in Ashford on the 12th of February. That's a really exciting one around social media, really good opportunity to start thinking about how you get engaging social media, and there's all sorts of competition out there for social media. So that's a really good opportunity to sit down with our expert and really kind of understand that. So take a look at the Eventbrite channel for that, which is really good. And just before I introduce our speaker, we're going to run a quick poll. Would really appreciate your feedback. So we just want to find out a little bit about where you found the link to the event. So if you could do that and just put your answer in, that would be really helpful to understand that. So just helps us to know whereabouts you found out about it and how we can maximise the reach of this for any businesses in Kent. Good. Okay. So I think onto the subject and onto the speaker. So probably it would be the sort of thing that somebody's that's living in a cave would not know about the subject of artificial intelligence, and really understanding about the fact that AI is probably the next big business buzzword, or buzzword in general, across the UK and globally as well, actually. So just yesterday, or the day before, actually, start of this week, we saw that the UK government is talking about using AI as a big opportunity for it to make cost savings and to focus on the growth that it's talking about. I think the UK government will have a tough time of implementing AI and making it efficient, because I think it's a really big organisation to do that. But I think small business has got a fantastic opportunity to pick up AI and really benefit from it. And I think just as a director of a business, I think having heard Laura, our speaker before, talk about AI and how you can use AI, then I have definitely benefited from that, and I've definitely seen the opportunity to be able to get productivity gains from it. And productivity to me means getting home earlier. It means being able to do stuff that I don't do. It means being able to do more marketing. So there are really tangible benefits for it, and Laura is a real expert around this. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to Laura. Laura's going to do an introduction to herself. As I said, if you've got any issues, just drop them into the Q&A. We'll do that, and without further ado, handing over to Laura.
Excellent, thanks, Jeff. Welcome everybody to today's session. Thanks for investing your time this afternoon to learn a little bit more about AI and how you can use it within your businesses. A bit of background about myself. I am a PR consultant, and I own a PR and marketing consultancy, and have done for about 16 years. And I think it was probably about 2 years ago, I started hearing about something called ChatGPT and AI and generative AI. And I thought, I'm going to have to start jumping on this bandwagon and get to learn about this and see how it can benefit me personally and the business. So that's exactly what I did. Went off and qualified as a Gen AI specialist, and I use AI tools every day in my business, and it's definitely helped my productivity and my workflow, and it just has freed me up to spend more time on more strategic matters. So that's me. I'm your AI trainer for the next couple of hours. If you have any questions, just pop them in the chat. We'll do our very best to answer them. So let's get started. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is take a look at what generative AI actually is, what it means, and a brief history as to where it came from, as to where we are now. Then we're going to have a look at some AI tools and an introduction to them, and some large language models, which to you and I means chatbots. And then we're going to use ChatGPT today to demonstrate some prompting. So if we start with a brief history, some of you might be aware, some might not, that AI has actually been around for a really long time, since the 1950s actually, when Alan Turing conducted the Turing test, where the first computer acted as a human. Then in 96, we had Eliza. In 1966, we had Eliza, which was a simulated psychotherapist, and it listened to patients and then offered responses based on what they had shared. It all went a little bit quiet then until the 90s, and in 97, IBM's Deep Blue computer beat the world's leading chess player, Kasparov, at chess. And that was the catalyst to where we are now. So that led into something called machine learning and deep learning. So machine learning learns from past data and patterns. So imagine a child learning to talk, reading words, learning the different types of animals. They'll make mistakes. to start with, but over time they'll get to grips with it, and that's exactly how machine learning works, where the computers just learn from vast amounts of data, and they just become faster and sharper and more accurate. Deep learning, this learns from neural networks, so similar to layers of the brain, and it involves complex coding and algorithms and all the stuff that we don't need to worry about today. And that then feeds into generative AI. And generative AI is the really, really exciting stuff. It's really accessible, and you don't need to be a professor or have a degree in coding to be able to use the generative AI tool. And at the heart of generative AI, we have LLMs, which means large language models, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot. And we use these tools to prompt to get the generative results that we require. So that's a brief potted history about AI. Hopefully that's useful and just gives you a little bit more of an idea of where it came from and where we are now. So in terms of generative AI, which is what we're going to be learning about today, generative AI is AI that can create something that previously a human could. So copy, text, images, music, videos. It can create a story, an article, a blog post, a report entirely from scratch based on the information that you give it. And it will generate something completely new that didn't exist before based on the output that you have requested. So generative AI creates something new. Right, why is it important that we adopt generative AI? And I just want to put people's mind at ease by saying it's not here to take our jobs. There's always going to be a need for human sense checking and that human involvement. But we can use AI to enhance our skills, make us better, using our knowledge and our expertise. But it can only ever do what we ask it or tell it to do. And by adopting it, we're going to save time, it's going to boost our productivity and free up time to spend on the more strategic, meaningful work. So companies can use AI to automate tasks, improve customer experience, make smarter decisions based on analysing data, and allow us to work more effectively. It can also offer a personalised service and predict market trends. So using AI will give you ideas that you might not have considered before, and it will boost creativity and innovation, and all of this just frees up time for us to spend on more strategic issues. So this little phrase here is something that's always at the back of my mind, and it's that AI won't take your job, but a human who is using or has adopted generative AI just might. So if you're ever wondering whether it's time to embrace it, it definitely is, because everybody out there is going to be doing the same. Right, so in terms of AI tools, there are hundreds out there, and more are coming onto the market every day, it seems. And choosing the right tool or any tool is really overwhelming. The ones that are featured on this slide are the ones that I feel are really beneficial to small businesses. They're either completely free of charge and have free options, or they have very valuable, reasonable monthly subscription fees, like £20 a month. And then deciding which tool is for you really depends on your business, your goals and objectives, and they need to be clearly defined to allow you to align them to the most suitable tool for you and your organisation. So for example, for myself, because I'm a copywriter by trade, I use Claude and ChatGPT. Claude I love because it's perfect for copywriting. It can't draw from the internet, but it is trained to provide really high class copy. So if I've written a proposal or a press release, I'll upload it to Claude and I'll ask it to make it better or tweak it. And it's really good for brainstorming and bouncing ideas off. So when it comes to an AI tool, it's not a one size fits all. It depends on you and your organisation and exactly what it is you want to achieve from it. So as a small business, there are 4 tools that are available right now to support your marketing. You might be using them already, you might not be aware of them. So, and they're having a huge impact on marketing and how you can use AI to leverage your business right now. And using them will help you keep your costs down and compete at a larger scale. So we've got ChatGPT, which is from OpenAI, Claude by Anthropic, Gemini from Google, and Copilot from Microsoft. What I thought would be really useful to do was have a bit of a deep dive into all 4 and just show you or just explain what I think the strengths and weaknesses are. So if we start off with ChatGPT, this is one of my favourites. It's like the Swiss Army knife of chatbots. It can create text, it can create images, it draws from data on the internet. It even has vision mode. For anyone that doesn't know what vision mode is, it will take a photograph of something. So for instance, you've gone to a conference or you're at a presentation and you've taken a photograph of someone's handwritten slides. You can then take a photograph of it, pop it into ChatGPT through vision mode, and it'll translate it and put it into a text format, so you don't have to retype it or translate it yourself. So it's got an image creation in terms of DALL-E. You can create your own custom GPT within it, and then it can analyze data. You can upload reports and spreadsheets and analyze that data. In terms of weaknesses, the copy that it produces can be a bit generic, a little bit boring. You can't really use it to brainstorm. It's not very creative, and it's a little bit glitchy as well. So that's you just have to kind of be mindful of that. So that's ChatGPT. So Claude by Anthropic, this is amazing for copywriters. I love it, use it all the time. And it just allows you to tweak. So if you're a natural copywriter, or you've got a document that you're really happy with, but you just want to make it, just polish it up and give it that bit of finesse, Claude's really good for that. It's human sounding. It doesn't come back with the same generic terms that AI will give you, like leveraging, harness, delve, all those kind of words. It's very, very intelligent. The ideation on it is incredible. It's like having another professional next to you in the office to bounce ideas off. It has got vision mode similar to ChatGPT, and then it does have a project section, so you can use it to work on projects, save them, come away from them, add to them. What it's not so good at, it doesn't have internet access, so it can't draw from data sets from the internet. It doesn't generate images, and it can't analyze data. But what it does do, it does exceptionally well. Gemini, you've probably heard of this one. There's a lot of adverts at the moment with the new Google Pixel phone that's incorporated Gemini into it. Very similar to Apple's Siri. It's definitely one to watch, but it's not quite there yet. Google have got a bit of a way to go actually when it comes to chatbots. It's very similar to ChatGPT and what it's trying to achieve, but the copy's not very good, and it's not as user-friendly. You can integrate it with your Google Workspace. You can get some good conversations from it. It'll give you some strategic advice. It will draw down from the internet. And then you've got this new edition, which is called Gemini Gems, which essentially is the ability to create your own chatbots within Gemini. So in terms of weaknesses, the responses you'll get are inconsistent. Sometimes you'll get something good, sometimes you'll get something awful. There's no vision mode, and it doesn't analyze data. Copilot, not a fan personally. Some people might disagree with me. I just think it's really disappointing, and most people integrate it because they've got Microsoft Office running on their computers. Let's focus on the good points. Let's say it can access the internet. It does have Copilot Studio. You can generate images with it, and it will integrate with all of the Microsoft Office tools. So compared to the other tools, it's quite limiting, and what it does do, it doesn't do particularly well. So we'll see what happens with this one, see what Microsoft pull out the bag this year. So that's the roundup of the big four and the strengths and weaknesses of them. As with anything and the integration of any new policy or procedure or software, AI does have its risks, limitations, and bias. So if we start off with bias, just remember that the information that the LLMs draw from has been created by humans for humans. And if you think about the information that is out there, that is on the internet, there's a lot of personal opinions, personal comments, and that the LLMs draw from all of this data. So there's a big percentage of information that does carry human bias, and it's important to be aware of that and remember that. So when you're getting the outputs from the request that you've put in, just make sure that you're reading it and cross-checking it first. So under the umbrella of bias, we've got racial bias, and when generating images for keywords such as inmate or drug dealer or terrorist, Stable Diffusion, which is an image generation tool, produced some really heavily biased results, and a lot of the images generated were of people with a darker skin. Even though people of colour make up less than half of the US prison population. There's a link there to an article. If anybody wants to read that further, just let us know, and we can pass all the links over to you after the webinar. Cultural bias, again, Stable Diffusion generated a search output of children playing with guns when asked to create a search for toys that children play with in Iraq. And then this was quite interesting, actually. I put a search into Midjourney for a business owner, and it came back with a white middle-aged man. And we all know business owners come in all different shapes, sizes, and genders. So yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting one. And last but not least, availability bias. So again, they're drawing down from lots of popular content. So just because there's more of one topic on the internet doesn't always mean that that's correct. So the models can produce content related to trending topics or widely discussed issues, and they might potentially overlook less popular but equally as important information. And the models might favour recent information over older, potentially more relevant data, and that can give you a skewed version of events or trends. There's a predominance of English language on the internet, and the Gen AI models might struggle with less represented language or cultural contexts. Then we've got the amplification of misinformation. There's a lot of false or misleading information on the web, and the AI might incorporate and reproduce this information in its outputs. And then demographic bias. So sometimes you'll get a search back and it may have overrepresented perspectives from those demographics that are more active online, maybe like marginalized, unrepresented groups, underrepresented groups. So it's just being aware of all of this and not thinking that AI is bulletproof, and just being mindful that you can't just generate an output and take it as gospel. So that brings us on to data privacy, and any information that you put into a search can come out anywhere else. So these models are training on data all the time, and not just data from the internet. If you've got a tool, an AI tool, that tool is training on your input all the time. You can mitigate that by turning that off. So when you're using an AI model, if you go into settings and then security and data privacy, there will be a toggle that says data training and you can turn it off. So a lot of the time, it doesn't matter because what you're searching for probably isn't sensitive. However, say if you were wanting to update your CV, for instance, and you've uploaded your document and personal information to ChatGPT or another tool to do that for you, that information is going to be there in the ether, and could come out possibly somewhere else in somebody else's data output, if that makes sense. Just we're not really sure if we can trust the LLMs yet. This is all really new, and companies need your data. Companies need your data to train from, to sell to you, to market to you. So to mitigate that and those worries, turn the training off. Use specific versions of the LLMs. If they're paid versions, they're less likely to be taking your info and sharing it. Make sure that there's the AI policies they have are transparent, and just pick your tools carefully. Right, so in terms of copyright, there's a fine line between inspiration and copyright infringement, and now many companies have tools to detect whether content has been created by AI or not. There are a couple of really useful cases. Again, the links are on here so you can read the report and the articles in full. The most recent being the New York Times, who sued OpenAI for the unpermitted use of their articles to train their GPT language models. Now, OpenAI argued the fact that these articles were out there on the internet, so they were anybody's for the taking, whereas the New York Times said that they owned the rights to them. And then again, the same thing happened. Getty Images sued Stable Diffusion for taking their images, and a lot of Getty Images you have to pay for, whereas Stable Diffusion was taking them, and then people were using the output for their own personal marketing purposes. Okay, so you might have heard the term hallucinations, you might have not. So you're going to have a look at what they are and why they happen. So AI doesn't always know the answer, but it will make something up. And 10 to 15% of the time it does do this, and it will sound really convincing as well. This is because there's a lack of real understanding about the question that you've asked it. There's limitations when it comes to the data it's trained on. The LLM is overconfident because it thinks it knows everything. There's the lack of real world grounding, and they're really eager to please. It's like having a really keen assistant in the office, that you've asked them to do something, and they want to do it. They want to do it really well, and they want to do it really quickly. So that's what hallucinations are, and why they happen. And again, it's just use it responsibly, just check the information, just cross check, and be advised that all of the LLMs are subjected to two updates a year, one in April and one in November. So, for instance, if you search in February for the President of the United States, more than likely it will still say that it's Joe Biden, rather, because obviously the inauguration is happening this month, but it had its training update in November. So little things like that, so just be aware of. We've all heard the term deep fakes. There have been some deep fake videos in the news this week. I think that it was Susanna Reid on Good Morning Britain. They did an example with her, and you know, sometimes they can be really convincing. But I'm going to go through a couple of clues with you in a minute, just to kind of give you an understanding of what to look for, and how you can tell whether it's a deep fake or not. This picture here of the Pope is a really famous picture of a deep fake that went viral, and it was created by Midjourney, and it was a picture of a Pope in a Balenciaga long line puffer jacket that a lot of people thought was legit, so, and obviously it wasn't, so that's a really good example. This image down here I created the other day. Joe Biden and Donald Trump on the best of terms. When you look at it closely, it's really obvious it's fake. There's a finger here on Donald's hand that I don't know really what it's doing. Joe Biden's got a really perfect set of pearly whites there. This guy has no face, and they've obviously taken the background context from COVID times, because masks aren't worn at rallies anymore. So in terms of spotting deepfakes and what to look out for, look for unusual or inconsistent details. For instance, this isn't consistent with the times, with the face masks, texture and pattern repetition. With the stars on this image, you can see that they're all different shapes and sizes. That wouldn't happen on a corporate guidelined piece of promotional material. Lighting and shadows, again, on this photograph here, we've got a light shadow that's coming off the one light, but not any of the others. Any background anomalies, facial features, or lack of in that respect. And then again, text and labels. So you'll see in the background on here, I'm sure that is supposed to say win, but it says whim. So it's letters and numbers and things like that. They won't make sense. So yeah, so that's deep fakes and what to look out for. And then what we're going to do now, what I thought would be really useful, is to do a little bit of a quiz with you. If you just take a couple of seconds to look at both of these images, and then just have a think. One of them's been created with AI, one of them is real, and then on the next slide I'll go through the differences. So I'll just give you a couple of seconds to have a look, and then we'll go on to the next slide. Okay. Right, so this is the AI generated one, and we know this because the hands are misplaced. The paintbrush isn't being held properly. We don't really know what's going on with this arm here, and the alignment of the eyes of the children. So this child here, if she was concentrating on what she was doing, she'd be looking down towards the end of the brush. And then all of these children are just looking all over the place. there's no fixation, which there would be. As you can see from this photograph here, they're all really engaged in what they're doing. This is the real photograph. Sorry. Eyes are aligning with what the hand's doing, the hands and the arm. We haven't got any sticky out elbows or shoulders. So that just gives you an idea of how to spot generated images and in terms of what's real and what isn't. There's another one here for you. If you want to just bear in mind the clues that I gave you earlier, and then just take a couple of seconds to look at these images as well. And then I'll go on to the next slide and explain which is real. Okay. So remember we talked about background anomalies. This is riddled with them. You've got a wrinkled texture in the skyline, and in the reflection in the water, we've got additional colours. So we've got green and pink here that aren't represented at the top. And this image over here, the real image, you can see that there aren't any weird textures or patterns or anomalies in the background. The edges of the cliff face are really sharp, and then we've got an accurate reflection of the lights in the water. So hopefully that's proved useful, and next time you see something online or TikTok or Instagram, you'll be able to tell the difference straight away. Okay, so in terms of AI tools, there are tools for content, tools for images, tools for videos, and tools for music. So today we're looking at content and image generation. The tools on this page, some of them are completely free to use, and some of them you will get with paid versions of LLMs. DALL-E, you've probably heard of. This is incorporated into the paid version of ChatGPT, and more recently, Canva. So when you're using ChatGPT now, this is why I call it the Swiss Army knife of the tools, because you can generate content, you can generate text, and you can generate design. And what will happen, it's like a one-stop shop, really. So if you've generated some content, you can then ask it to use that information using DALL-E to produce an image or even a logo as part of that project. And then because of the new plugin with Canva, you can then take that straight into Canva and ask it to create a design for you. So something that would previously have taken 3 days can take a couple of hours now. It's madness. Then this tool here, Ideogram, is an image generation tool, and it's a text to image free tool to use, and it produces some really good results. It's a little bit sharper than ChatGPT, so that's a really good program. So if you want to make a note of that, Ideogram AI, and then just have a play around with different images and things. Leonardo.ai, this is another brilliant free tool to use. Very similar to Ideogram, but you can also, with Leonardo, it's not just photographs. You can generate sort of cartoony sort of pictures. It's really, really arty, which is why it's called Leonardo, because there's lots of different brush strokes and effects and things you can play around with. It's really easy, really user-friendly, and it will give you a few options. It'll give you like 4 or 5 options of the same image that it's generated. Then we've got Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, and Adobe Firefly. These have free and paid versions. Midjourney is brilliant if you're into more sort of advanced graphic design and turning text to videos. So that's just a brief summary. There's lots of tools that small businesses can use for ideas for logos, adverts, campaigns, newsletters, social media posts. These are just a few. And what I would say is, if you don't have a full budget to give to a graphic designer to design a logo, it's really good to use these tools to get to where you want to be. So you could design something yourself within this tool and then give it to a graphic designer and say, can you spend an hour on tweaking this, please, rather than asking them to spend a whole day on it. And that would just really reduce budget costs. So as an example, these are some images that I've generated myself. So this logo was generated using DALL-E, as ChatGPT. I was just playing around with it and asked it to create a logo for a coffee shop that I wanted to promote. And it's not done too bad of a job, to be honest. There's a little bit of, remember I said about looking at text and things in images. It's obviously duplicated the N a little bit here, but apart from that, and going back 2 years, this would have been awful. So it's come a really long way in a short space of time, and that's a really good starting point. I could put that into a business plan and take it to a bank, or use it to promote online for the first instance, and then just ask a graphic designer to clean it up for me. Or if you're good at PowerPoint, you could just take it over to Photoshop, sorry, and tweak it in there yourself. This photograph here of a coffee shop is completely fake, doesn't exist. I generated it with a prompt in Leonardo, and I've got to be honest, I'd go in there. I'd spend a morning in there having coffee and working and chatting to a few people. There's a couple of clues that it's fake. That mainly the copious amounts of hanging baskets. Probably wouldn't have that many in such a close vicinity. But again, if I had a really limited budget and I just needed a couple of images to put into some flyers or a website, I could use this, and it looks really realistic. So that's DALL-E and Leonardo for you if you want to have a look at that yourself after the event. So before you start using any tools, you really need to learn how to prompt and how to prompt properly. So prompting is the instruction that you give to an LLM in a conversational way. And a good prompt means a lot less work for you. Think of it as a really keen assistant, someone who's just joined the company, really talented, really enthusiastic, but they need instructions, they need direction, and they need context. You wouldn't say to them on their first day at work, oh, can you go and write me an 800-word blog on content marketing, and then just leave them to it. You would hopefully show them some examples of ones that had worked really well in the past, and just think of the difference between those two questions. You know, don't just leave someone to go off and do something. If you sit there and give them some examples, they'll be able to draw so much more from the previous examples, like the tone of voice, the length, the structure, and the same goes for AI. So when it's fed examples of things, it will create a much better version than if you just try to describe it yourself. So any opportunity that you give to the AI in terms of examples, then make sure you do. And again, just remember that AI isn't perfect. It can and will hallucinate. If it doesn't know the answer, it will make things up. So cross-check the information, check it before you use it. You'll always need that human layer. It's a wonderful tool to work with, but it is not bulletproof. So why bother learning how to prompt? It takes a while. It's a new skill, but my goodness, is it worth it? Not everybody is a natural copywriter. And when you first use AI to generate copy, if you're a complete novice and you're not into content writing, you'll think that what it's given you back is pretty good. However, to the trained eye, it won't be very good at all, and the content quality could have a really detrimental effect to your brand and what it is that you're trying to achieve. So learning how to prompt will make you more productive in so many more ways. It can help you prep for presentations, for interviews. You can converse with it in a human way to generate ideas that are engaging. It'll help you identify new ways of doing tasks. It can create stronger communication. You can use AI to change your tone, be more clear about what it is you're trying to say, and really get your message across. And it will really give you that professional advantage, because not everybody's going to learn how to prompt properly. And companies will start employing people that can and do know how to do it properly. So it'll be a huge advantage if you've taken the time to learn. So basically, you learn to prompt. It's going to make you far more productive. It's going to create so many more innovative ideas. You'll learn how to brainstorm and bounce ideas off it and with it. It will increase your personal communication. It's going to make you look far more professional. It's really good at solving problems there and then, and you've got a control over the overall output. So there are so many different types of prompts. A lot of people use AI to generate content or generate images. And there's so much more to it than that. It's good at doing those things, but there's so many other uses. You can ask it to explain things. You could put a document into it and just say, like, for instance, the new AI report that's come from the government, you can upload that and ask it to explain what it actually means for business. You can ask it to give you analysis. You can get information and research, and you can even simulate scenarios and conversations. You can ask it to behave as a character, interact with it. You could use it for HR, campaign analysis, just so many things. For instance, you could draft an item or some content for your LinkedIn profile and ask it to analyze it and rewrite it. And then you can ask the AI to ask you questions and just keep pushing it and using that iteration to get it to where you want it to be. You can even ask it to offer expert advice. You can ask it to behave as a HR professional or a lawyer or any area that you're interested in, and give it as much information as possible about a subject and ask for its advice, and you'll get a really good response back, and it'll save you time and money. You can even ask it to act as your own personal trainer, develop a workout plan, give you a nutrition, a diet plan. There's just endless opportunities. And it's really, really good at summarizing. especially like long reports and videos, you can upload them and ask them to pick out the key points of the video. It can analyze spreadsheets, and it can even translate text. It's brilliant at brainstorming, and it's really, really good at critically analysing things as well. And another thing that's really useful is you can ask it to proofread and then correct any mistakes. So don't just use it for content and image generation. There's so much more you can do with it. And we'll take a look at different types of prompts a little later on. So what I wanted to do in the next couple of slides is show you what makes a bad prompt or a poorly crafted prompt, and then take you through what makes a really good prompt. So these are examples of bad prompts, and as you can see, they're just very short. We're asking for some content marketing strategy, and then we've asked it for 10 ideas for YouTube videos. So you'll get a response from those prompts, and if you're not a content marketer, you'll think, oh, okay, that's all right, I'll take that. But when you look into it a little bit further, you'll realize that what you've got back isn't that good, actually. Those prompts are too vague, they lack clarity, they'll lead to a suboptimal response from the AI. The AI doesn't know what aspect of marketing we were looking for, the format that we needed, or any other details that might make a response useful. So don't treat the AI like Google. Don't make your prompt short. Make sure there's context. There's not enough context in these prompts, and they're too broad and unclear. Okay, so that brings us on to proper prompting, and it's all about 3 key points, and I refer to them as my 3 Ps of prompting. So we've got personality, perspective, and precision. So when you're creating or crafting a prompt, you need to make sure that you've got a description that fulfills each of the 3 Ps to get the best back. AI doesn't know you, it doesn't know anything about you or your company. So imagine that you've walked into the office and the ideal person to help with your task is sat right there. And in terms of, let's say, ChatGPT. So we could ask it to be a LinkedIn ghostwriter, or it might be that we need a content strategist, and that AI is the person in the office that's got 10 years experience in creating content, and we need to give it that personality. So in terms of LLMs drawing down from data, the more specific you can be about the character or the personality that you want it to take on, the better. So then we've got perspective. Don't forget to explain the purpose of what it is you're trying to achieve. Do you want it to provide a report, an article, a blog? Give examples of what it is that you want it to give back, and provide background information for the task. You could upload company brochures, company documents, case studies, your web address. And giving it examples is one of the best things you can do for prompting. As humans, we're really bad at describing what we want. We tend to have limited vocabularies and use the same pool of words to describe things. So when we're trying to describe our own voice and what we want back, everybody wants to be friendly but engaging, conversational but human sounding, and we'll just end up getting the same result every time. So if you put the same thing in, you'll get the same thing out, and a way to get around that is by giving the AI some examples. And then lastly, we've got precision. So clearly state what it is you want to achieve. Give it clear instructions, and remember that the AI doesn't know what an idea is. Do you want a paragraph? Do you want a table? Do you want bullet points? An idea might be to generate 5 ideas, each with a topic and a bullet point, and then explain why it might help the audience that you're trying to attract. Specify the format, the structure, and any other relevant details. It's got such a huge data set to draw from, so it needs to know specifically what you're looking for. And I'll give examples of that in a little while. And then give it a format, give it a structure, use simple, concise language and ideas. Make sure there's no spelling mistakes, no grammar. Be specific about the tone, the length, whether you want it to be enthusiastic, empathetic, optimistic, authoritative, and try to avoid jargon and confusing words. And then if it gives you an output that you're not happy with, don't be afraid to say, oh, that's not what I was looking for, or can you take that idea and make it longer, or can you add this to it? Just keep pushing it. You don't have to accept its first response. So the 3 Ps: personality, give it a character, perspective, tell it what you want it to do, give it information, give it as much examples as you can, and then precision, be really clear about what instructions you're giving, explain exactly what you mean, what you're looking for. So what I've done here is just give you some ideas of personalities and information and things that could help it be more precise. So you could ask the AI to be a copywriter, a content writer, a marketing strategist. You could ask it to be a lawyer, a HR expert, an accountant. You could feed it with examples of blogs, strategies, analytics, reports, spreadsheets, and then tell it exactly what you want it to do. The length of it, any links you want, call to actions, keywords, key messages that you have to use within your corporate guidelines. And if you add all of these elements to a prompt, you'll get such a much better output, save time and increase your productivity. And again, just always remember that the AI can hallucinate. You're always going to need that human layer. It's a fab tool to work with, but you can't just rely on it. I always like to give the analogy of a sandwich, whereas the human is the first layer of slice of bread. The AI is the filling, and then the human is the last slice of bread on top. So if you just always remember the sandwich, you won't go far wrong. This is an example of a prompt that you could use to generate content. Now, as you can see here, this is one prompt, and this is what the length of a prompt should look like. So it's not just one sentence, it's a whole paragraph. And within this prompt, we've got the 3 Ps. So we're asking the AI to act as a LinkedIn ghostwriter. We're telling it that we're an AI trainer who specialises in non-technical training for small business. I've given it an example of the brochure, and I'm saying that I need to brainstorm some ideas for my LinkedIn and that what they need to provide. Further details in terms of attaching information about my ideal clients. So I'm feeding it with information. And then here I've been really concise by saying that an idea should be a topic. I want 3 bullet points and reasons why it would help my audience. And I want 5 ideas in total. So compared to those bad prompts that we saw earlier, they're nearly 10 times as long, and this is what you need to be aiming for. Okay. So remember I said that you could use prompting for all different types of things, and simulation being one of them. This one is based on having to have a really difficult conversation with an employee. So here, with the character that we're giving it is to act as an experienced HR manager. Then we're saying that we are the team leader and we need to have a difficult chat with a team member about their performance. We're going to attach some company documentation adhering to handling performance issues. And we've also attached further details of performance issues. So we've given it a personality, we've added some information, and then what do we want out of it? We want the computer, the AI, to do role play effectively. So we're asking it to tell us when it's ready, respond as the employee, and then we're going to talk back and forth until a natural resolution is decided, and then we want a brief reflection at the end. So that's just to give you a couple of ideas on how to structure a prompt. There's another example here. Remember I said you could treat it as a personal trainer. So this prompt here, I've put in that I want to improve my general physical health. I want it to develop a workout plan. I want to train 3 days a week. The exercises that or the activities that I enjoy doing, to include some dinner ideas that take around half an hour. And then I want the AI to ask me some questions about what it needs to know to create a tailor-made plan. And to include some questions about my goals. And we also want to be kept motivated as well. So we want the AI to give us some goals to work towards too. Okay, so I'm just going to take you over to ChatGPT now. Just bear with me a second, because what I'm going to do is copy this prompt into ChatGPT to show you the output. Hopefully this works. Okay, right, so bear with me. Okay, I'm just going to take a really quick look at see if there's any questions that I'm missing that we can have a look at later. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Okay, right. Oh. So if we head on over to ChatGPT, what I can do is if I paste this prompts in here, and off we go. And we'll see what it comes back with. Fab. So so it's come back and it's asking us some questions. So it's asking what our specific fitness goals are. Do we want to lose weight, build our strength, improve our stamina? Do we have any previous experience? This is a really good one, because it could assume that we were really good at running and put us in for a 10K right off the bat, which would not be good. And then asking if there are any injuries or medical conditions, specific time of day that we would want to work out. Do we want warm-ups and cool-downs? Then it's asking if we have any dietary requirements. And what motivates us to stick to a fitness routine. So you can see from that prompt, we've got quite a lot back. And then what you do then is just go back into the chat and say, yes, I want to lose weight, but I also want to build my strength. I do have a knee injury, and then it'll just come back with more and more developed outcomes. Right, if we go back here. What I wanted to do with you is sort of an interactive task. This might just kind of work with me as much as you can, really. And Jeff, please feel free to interject if there's an issue or I need to slow down. But what I thought it would be really useful to do is to help you build a prompt alongside me. If you don't have access to ChatGPT, don't worry. You can just follow me doing it on here. And we can just choose personalities, perspectives, precisions, and just have like an interactive demonstration. So what I thought would be really useful to do is ask the AI to write a blog on the future of content creation for marketing agency. So we've given it a personality and we're asking it to act as a content creator. I've given it my website to give it the information it needs to draw down from. And then we're saying that we want some examples, or we want to brainstorm 5 ideas that will really resonate with the audience. And an idea should be a topic with 2 bullet points to cover future of content creation. So if we take this prompt over to ChatGPT, and we'll pop it in here. And we'll see what it comes back with. So it might take a little while because it's got to analyse the information that I've given it. Oh. Right. Can everybody see the screen? Can you see the screen, Jeff?
Oh, hey, Laura. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we can only see your PowerPoint presentation at the moment. So if you
Ah,
stop sharing that and start sharing the GPT screen.
right. That, have you got it?
That looks like, yeah, I can that we can see that now. Yeah, that's
Right.
perfect.
So if I, sorry guys, so if I just recap then, what I've done is taken the prompt from the presentation and asked the GPT to act as an experienced content creator, help me generate an 800-word blog on the future of content creation. It's got my website that it's drawn down the information from, and we're asking it to come up with 5 ideas with topics that can cover the future of content creation. So so now what it's done with, it's given me some headlines that we could use for the blog. So if we have a look at those, and then we can just choose the one that we like the best. And then it's saying to me, would you like to expand on one of these ideas or incorporate other elements? So I'm going to choose idea number 1. So then I'm going to say it. Please please expand on idea 1 and provide 800 words to generate a blog on the future of content marketing for my audience. So it's going to go off now and have a think about what I've just asked it to do. You'll see that it comes back with Americanized spelling. So that's something else to be aware of, and just be mindful that, you know, when you use it and when you tweak it, put it back into English UK version. It just amazes me how quickly it comes back with information. And then you basically just go through it, have a look at what it's written, whether you're happy with it, whether you want to kind of shorten it, lengthen it. What I have noticed here, I didn't ask it for a call to action. So what we could then do, obviously, next is say, that's great. Please include a call to action to encourage readers to get in touch. And then we could use website and email. And then it'll go back and readdress it and put the call to action at the bottom. The other thing, I'm hoping this will work in a minute, guys, but what I want to do is I created my own chatbot, and it's called the Humanizer. So what I'm going to do, hopefully, if this works, is take this text that it's produced. I don't know why it's doing that. Bear with. Oh, it's still finalising it. That's why I can't copy and paste it. Right. Excellent. So it's just popped at the bottom a little brief paragraph about ready to revolutionise and the call to action that I've asked it to include. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy it and I'm going to take it over to my chatbot, hopefully. So there we go. So that's the other thing with the paid version of GPT. I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, apologies. The other thing that you can do with ChatGPT paid version is create your own chatbot. And what I've done here is upload all of my information, all of my content and copy that I've created over a number of years, and program the chatbot to sound like me. And as you can see, they've put here AI generated copy to sound warm and human. So I'm just going to paste that information that ChatGPT has just given us, and it's going to humanize it and make it sound a little bit look more like me. And you'll notice it's put the correct spellings in, because I've told it that I'm based in the UK and to use UK English. I've also told it not to use specific AI words and vocabulary, such as leverage, delve, all those. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those words at all, and sometimes you might want to use them, but I don't want rocket emojis all over my text either, because that's often what happens with ChatGPT. So So yeah, so we've got a warmer, more sort of humanized version of what it was that we started with. So that's just something else that AI can do. And you can create chatbots that are specific to yourself or your company. You just have to know how to configure it really. So if we go back to the presentation, I will try make sure that that I can share the screen again. Okay, bear with me. Where did we get to here? Right. So share. Okay. Right. So is everybody okay and can see the presentation again?
Hey Laura, right, if you want to just go back to to share.
Yeah.
On your Zoom window.
There we go.
And so you're on you're on the slide interactive task.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
Super.
Super. Thank you. Thanks for your patience, guys.
No worries. And just the timing,
not.
you're at just after 2:15.
Okay, we're nearly done. We nearly do. Just got a couple of slides left, and then yeah, very nearly there. Shall I carry on, Jeff, or is now a good time to answer a couple of questions, or should we just keep going?
No, I think if you keep going, anyone that's asked a question, that comes through into the Q&A section, and then what we'll do is that we'll run through those Q&As, and what I propose we'll do is to take each one, and I'll kind of ask it to Laura, and then Laura can give a view on it, and so forth. And then once that's finished, what we'll also do is we need to run a quick poll around a couple of things so we can get some feedback, which is great, and we'll hopefully encourage more AI events, which I think is great. And then yeah, so if you want to run on through, and then we'll go to the Q&A.
Okay, super. Thanks, Jeff. So I thought it would be a good idea to show you how you can use AI to solve a problem or brainstorm a solution. And the way that you can do that is by popping a prompt into the tool and ask it to effectively develop a marketing plan for you. So you could ask it to act as an innovation consultant, tell it the organization that you're working for, give it the budget that you know that you have to develop an innovative solution or a local challenge. And then you can ask it as well to identify challenges that you might face in the community, and then give you some ideas in order to challenge to solve that challenge. So you could consider how technology could be used, any potential collaboration with other sectors or other businesses locally, the impact that it might have. And then for each of those ideas, you could provide a catchy name, a brief description, and then the main benefit to the community. And that prompt will give you a lot to work with, a lot of information, and provide a really good starting point. So in order to build a plan, we need the AI to act as a planning consultant. we tell it the idea that you've chosen to develop further. For instance, you could use the coffee shop idea and help to create a basic plan for implementing that idea. Ask it for key milestones, 'cause it's always good to work towards the goal. Remember that you've got a budget and you can't exceed that budget. And then identify any potential challenges and solutions. Branding, you can ask it to help with that, because you can ask it to be a branding specialist and create a catchy name or a slogan for the idea that you've chosen, for instance, the coffee shop, and then provide, 3 options of a company name, a company slogan, and then a brief explanation of why it might resonate with the local community, why it might catch on. What I'll do is I'll try and go back to a previous chat that I used, and then we can stay in ChatGPT for a while instead of going back and forth. So if I take this over. Head on back. Pop it in here. That should have done it. Right, hopefully I've done that right the first time, this time, and you can all see ChatGPT. Right, so I've popped that. Can you see ChatGPT, Jeff?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, it's hard, isn't it, going back and forth like this? But we'll get there, and it's worth it. It's worth it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to my previous example of the Brewhaven coffee shop. So and use this as a working example. So I want AI to act as a branding specialist and create a catchy name and slogan for my coffee shop. And I've asked it to provide a name, a slogan, and a brief explanation. So let's just see what it comes back with. Right, so here we go. It's got Brewhaven, your cozy coffee escape. That sounds warm and friendly, doesn't it? Evoking a sense of warmth and safety, emphasizing the coffee shop as a sanctuary for relaxation and connection. Well, that sounds quite inviting. Then we've got the Morning Haven, start your day the local way. Haven Roast and Co. Right, I think just to kind of give you an example, I'm going to say that I don't like any of them, and I'm going to ask it to reiterate, and we'll see what it gives us back. There we go. Every sip feels like home. Okay. So for the purposes of this activity, I think we'll just go with option 1, and then again we'll ask it to provide a new slogan. And then we will ask as well to provide some ideas for social media posts. Let's go with 3 topics to use for social media. So it's just to give you an idea of how you can start to build a plan and how to build a proposal and a content strategy. And then again, it's come up with a new slogan. It's giving us some social media ideas of how to run polls or competitions to engage followers. Saying that it would be a good idea to share photographs and videos of the barristers in action, latte art creations, because that's always a big draw on TikTok and Instagram. And then we can also kind of collaborate with the local community, such as local artists or musicians. So it's just building that plan, building that that marketing strategy, and we've created that within a matter of seconds. What we can do now is we can ask it to create an image that we could use as a logo. So if we just ask it to use DALL-E, 3 image ideas to use as a company logo. So it's come back, it's generated something. It's not amazing, but it's a starting point. So that's something that you could then take to a graphic designer and say, can you tweak this? Can you make this better? It just takes out a lot of the initial design phase, the initial design work, especially when graphic designers charge by the hour. The other thing that I want to show you quickly is Leonardo AI, which is an image generation tool. Just to give you an idea of the difference between the two, and Leonardo is completely free. ChatGPT is okay at generating images, but there's other tools that are better, have better functions and better outputs. My computer's a little bit slow. I've probably got too many tabs open. So I'll show you what I've been able to download previously. So I was doing a talk previously at the Grand Theatre in Wolverhampton, and just asked Leonardo to create some photographs of the theatre, just so I could kind of use it for socials and things. And this is the quality that you get back. So it's come a long way to what it used to be like. And you could use those in you know, your marketing materials and your brochures and things. This is the cafe that I designed. This is the prompt for the cafe. As you can see, the prompt's really long. So you can't just pop a tiny little sentence in there. You've got to make sure that you put some, but Leonardo's good because it will help add to it. So if you're using it for the first time, it will give you a nudge and a push and help you design better. That's the image that I created as well a couple of days ago. So it's just yeah, just gives you an idea. So what I'm going to pop in here is so logo for my Scandinavian themed coffee shop. located on the southwest coast. And we'll just see what it comes back with. And what it'll do is it will generate 4 different types of images, and you can pick one that you like and you can develop it further. And you get coins with AI. So you can see in this box here, I've got 24 credits to use. So that means I've got 24 credits that I can use today, and then it stops, and then it'll start again tomorrow, which isn't bad really when it's, you know, it's a free tool. So yeah, so it's come back with some ideas to use, and then again, that's taken seconds. That would take a graphic designer hours and hours to create. So it's just another example of how you can use AI to save time and money. Right. So let's get back to the presentation. And I'm just going to finish off by giving you some tangible tips to take away with you so that you can implement them into your daily work in life. Okay, so once you've got your content sorted, and once you've got your images sorted, and you've got your collateral, your corporate guidelines and your branding, and you're ready to go outbound and present it to your audience, you need to make sure you've got a certain amount of things in place to maximize your marketing efforts. The first one is to set your goals. Clearly define in your proposal what it is that you want to achieve. Is it brand awareness, lead generation, thought leadership? And then make sure that you've got specific measurable goals in order to guide that strategy. I think we're all familiar with the term SMART objectives, and that's fundamental. Know who you're speaking to, identify your target audience. Who are they? What interests them? How can you add value to their professional lives? And then when you're picking topics for your social media campaigns or your LinkedIn posts, try to pick themes that will resonate with the audience and align those topics with your brand message and the needs of your community. And then mix it up a little bit, mix and diversify the content types. So you've got articles, videos, infographics. Videos are really popular at the moment, more so than stills and pictures. Everybody likes to know what's going on in everybody's lives, and you know, if you've got a video, it's kind of a little bit more intimate, a little bit more intrusive rather than just a photograph. And then that varied approach will really keep your audience keen to interact and follow and continue to follow. Another thing that's really important is creating a content calendar, and that's make sure that you ensure consistency, and a well-organized calendar keeps you on track, and it allows you to plan because you've got different milestones with the month. I mean, obviously you've got the obvious ones like Easter, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, you know, mental well-being day, Earth Day, things like that. And if you can use those as a bit of an anchor and create campaigns around those, it just makes the content calendar and the creation a little bit easier for you. And then it's really easy now to measure the analytics of social media, to review the performance, and it enables you to see which posts are more engaging, which posts people preferred, which they didn't like so much, which days of the week that your audience are more engaging and more popular. I analysed my LinkedIn profile recently, and my top engagement is on a Wednesday of all days, when when you're doing your theory, the research suggests that Tuesday and Thursdays are best for follower engagement. So that was quite interesting. And then you can refine your strategy and adjust your approach based on those data insights. And then just take time to action and implement your plan and monitor those results. Engagement with your audience requires adaptability and a readiness to refine the strategy continually. It's not set in stone once it's written. Just make sure it's fluid and you evolve with it. And that will lead you to be more successful. So just to summarize, AI isn't perfect. It's brilliant at some things, absolutely terrible at others. It's constantly changing and evolving. It glitches. It's not a one-click solution, and you'll always need that human layer. Just remember the sandwich analogy when it comes to AI. And then it just seize this opportunity that's upon us. AI isn't just coming, it's here. It's changing things faster than we ever thought it might. Some jobs are going to change, but that's nothing new. Technology's always shifted the job market. Just think about when we all started using smartphones, and now they're an essential tool for business. Some of us might even remember the fax machine, and then we learned that actually there was something called email that could get things across the globe even quicker. And then that was followed by social media. And the real opportunity for all of us and small businesses is strategy. AI can do a lot, a hell of a lot, but it needs human guidance. It needs us humans to think about that bigger picture and to connect the dots in ways that only humans can. And AI frees us up to do those things, to work on the strategy and the focus and where the businesses are heading. I think it's really important now to know that learning about AI it's not just smart, it's like learning how to navigate social media in the 2010s. You don't need to be a professional to manage social media, and you don't need to be a professional to manage AI, but understanding it will open up so many more opportunities and help you stay connected. I think it's fair to say that most of us will either be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, Threads, because if you're not, you're not going to grow as a business, you're not going to grow as an individual, and that's the same with AI. It's just choosing the tool that suits you the best and learning how to use that tool. And the skills we need are evolving. Being able to write clear, detailed instructions for AI, learning how to prompt, that's just as important now as learning how to write an email and structure an email. So AI isn't about replacing us as humans, it's about freeing us up to focus on what we do best, and that's the creative thinking, strategy, innovation, and leaning into that learning is really key. And as a professional, as a copywriting professional myself, I keep pushing my own understanding and trying to work with different tools and experts and just learning as much as I can to be able to stay on top of all those latest advancements and achievements. So my advice is don't shy away from AI. Don't be frightened of it. Lean into it, learn from it, play with it, and see how it can make your work more efficient, more productive, more effective. Because the people who are going to thrive in the coming years are the people who don't resist AI, but the ones who learn to dance with it. So I hope that all has made sense. I'm just thinking whether there's anything that I need to maybe go back on to just to kind of cover, maybe I can help show you how to analyze your analytics on LinkedIn. So we've got a little bit of time to play with here.
I tell you what, Laura, it might be a good opportunity, because we've got quite a few questions, and I suspect then that once anyone that wants to then move into the Zoom meeting, which is going to be the kind of one-to-many kind of coaching process, that might be a good opportunity to do that. So because I think this is a really good opportunity, it's a good time to just talk through any questions that people have got. But firstly, I thought that was brilliant. So
thank you.
Obviously, anyone that's on the webinar, because of the format, we can't hear you, but I'm sure that you're whooping and cheering, and we thought that was a really, really interesting insight. And I think hopefully anyone that's on that's listening about it, that I think felt like a really good hand-holding process, just to show just how easy it is to access AI. So I thought was really, really interesting. So thank you. So just before we get into the Q&A session, if you wouldn't mind popping onto the last slide, Laura, and sharing the presentation. What I will also ask is so we're going to run a second poll. This is a really important one for us, because we do send out a questionnaire to everybody, but as is the way, stuff gets lost in email, and so this is something that really helps us in terms of then looking to propose particularly future AI events. So if everyone can just vote in the poll, and hopefully you've had a really good experience on that. If you want to provide feedback, that will be in the questionnaire that comes out, and so watch out for that. That will come out in your email shortly. And so there is also there was a couple of questions about whether there's going to be the slide deck provided. Actually, what we're going to provide to you is a couple of things. So we're going to provide to you something that I've already mentioned, which is the signposting document, which will have details of other business support services all around Kent, which you can access, including the Growth Hub links and so forth. The other thing that we're going to be sending to you is a really neatly designed worksheet, which is all focused around prompting, and so and it will give you all sorts of tips and guidance on how to prompt, and that will be coming out. So that will be sent out in your email after the event. So we will be doing that. So that's really good. So yeah, if you can help us by just voting on that, and obviously if you've had a good experience, then that is fantastic. And I hope also will then lead you to taking a look at that QR code that's up there. That is the program of events. We've also stuck the link to the Eventbrite channel in the chat, and if you just click on that, that allows you to follow it. There's some really good events coming up, and and you'll hopefully have had a taste of just how good the people that are leading these events, just like Laura is. And it's a good opportunity. Certainly the one that I'm really, really excited about is our first one in Ashford, which is going to be face-to-face, or actually it's going to be hybrid. So you can, if you're not close to Ashford, there is an option to join virtually. And if you are close to Ashford, then you can get yourself a tea, a coffee, some fancy biscuits, and some snacks. And actually get in there and meet with our social media expert Zoe, and Zoe's going to be taking you through how you can build up that really engaging content. So link into that. Make sure that you register for those events, and we will be looking forward to seeing you there very soon. Right. Okay. So for those of you that have used the Q&A process before, well done. We've got your Q&As, and some of them have been answered already. For those of you that haven't, there is a button at the bottom which you can click on, which will allow you to be able to submit a question. and then we're going to go through some of those questions now as we run up to 3 o'clock. We probably won't get through all of them, and so what will happen is that when we go through to the Zoom meeting, which will be where Laura's going to run through some more of these examples, and you can kind of work along with her within one of the LLMs. Then you know that'll be an opportunity to submit that. So yeah, so that's it. The link will be in the chat, and you'll be able to just link through to that. So in fact, the Zoom ID is also up there, so you can see that. And just before we finish, I'll go through just how that's going to work. Right, Laura. So I'm going to put you in the hot spot now. So all of these questions we will go through. I'm going to start taking. A good one here, which I thought was a really good one. So is there a setting to so a language model like ChatGPT returns your results in English, but it's UK English, not US English, so it gets rid of all those Zs and so forth?
There isn't a setting, but you can tell it in the prompt that you want it back in UK spelling, UK English. So if you say respond to me in using UK English, you can, or you can set up your own GPT to do that for you.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, so that's really clear guidance on that one. Anyone that's used that, then the language models do like to write in American English. So
Yeah,
that's
I think it goes back to the fact that a lot of the information has been generated by information from America, because it's such a big country, and all of this started over in Silicon Valley.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's. I think that also gives another really good point in here, which is you know, AI doesn't do it all for you. So if you're developing content within AI, you do need to read through it. You do need to review it so that you are thinking about it from the perspective of the reader. Because I think, you know, when people see things like it written in American English, I think that maybe reduces the impact of the content that you're providing if you're using that. So you do need to actually edit the outputs that come through, which I think is something that you've kind of reiterated.
Yeah, definitely. And you can also say to it, act as a a content strategist from the UK.
Right. Okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to give the people in there, what would be so for example, you've asked it to write a blog post about a particular subject. What would be the prompts that you would then put in to do that?
So you could say, for instance, acting as a leading marketing expert, like Mark Ritson, for instance, who is all-knowing when it comes to marketing. And then what it will do is it will go off and search for all of his information. And if you've put into the prompt that it's got to be from the UK, then it will search for that content strategist, all of the documentation that has been produced by that content strategist, the companies that they've worked for, and also take into consideration that it's got to be from the UK.
Okay, really, that's really good guidance. So thank you for that. Okay, so we had another question, which I think will also be on people's mind, which I think is around this idea of copywriting. So this is from Chantel. So Canva produces a requested photo, but then says you need to check the copyright on the photo. How do I check that the photo is copyrighted?
I think the fact that it's suggesting that it might need checking suggests that you can't use it in the first instance, and then I think you'd have to go on to a specific copywriting website to see whether it's been listed or trademarked. So then you maybe take it over to Google and just ask Google whether there's any copyright infringements or legislation attached to what has been developed or generated.
Got it. Okay. So that's really good guidance. So just thinking about that then. So if you're using Canva to produce your marketing materials, but you use one of the image tools to generate your images,
Yeah.
the images that you generate in the image tools, are they all copyright free?
They are, yeah, because the prompt for the image generation is unique to you, and it gives you a number of options, and they've never been generated before. That's the difference between copy generation and image generation is copy is taken or stolen from the internet. Image generation is taken from you and your human brain. So the image generation tools, they don't have any risk of copyright because you have generated them.
Okay, brilliant. So, and just to remind everybody of your preferred image generation tool, which one do you think has given you the best results?
I think Leonardo is wonderful. And there's lots of different outputs you can choose as well. So you can ask it to provide a photographic type image, a pencil type drawing, a cartoon. There's so many different layers that you can use. And I just yeah, I'm a real fan of Leonardo AI, and it's free.
Well, we definitely like something that's free of charge, and I think even if it just gives you a basis for something that you can then pass over to a graphic designer.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think from personal experience, when I've used graphic designers in the past, I know the idea that's in my head. But again, because we've got limited vocabulary and ways of being able to describe what we want, it often takes 3 or 4 versions of something to get to where you want to be. So if you can take all of that work, that time and effort out of that process, it's going to save hundreds of pounds. Because you can then say to the graphic designer, look, this is exactly what I want here. Can you make it come to life and put it into the correct vector format, and you know, and put the different colors to it and things, so it's just simplifies the whole process.
And just to make sure, just to kind of make sure that's completely clear. When you mean vector format, what do you mean by that?
So vector format is what you need to put on your brochures and your literature and your website. It's the correct file format for.
Okay. So it's different file formats for different marketing mediums, whether it's a website or a brochure. So, okay, brilliant. That's really good, really clear guidance. So actually, so we've got a question from Laura. So that's staying on Leonardo. So Laura would like to understand whether there is a way to be able to add her product range into a tool like Leonardo. So when the images get created, they also have her products in there. Is that possible?
That is possible, but you'd have to do that with something like Midjourney.
And Midjourney is a tool similar to Leonardo.
It's more professional. So all of the design agencies and creative agencies, the bigger agencies would use Midjourney. A lot of the adverts that are created on television are created with Midjourney software. So if you've got particular product photographs that you want to use, you'd need a more sort of software package that had bigger capacity, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think you wouldn't be able to do that with Leonardo. It would be Midjourney. You did used to have to have a Discord account, but you don't anymore. You can just go in straight to Midjourney, but I'm sure you have to pay. But I think it's like £20 a month or £15 a month, and for me, it's a no-brainer when it comes to kind of converting that monetary value of time that you're going to save. Like you'll get that back.
Yeah, yeah. I think I think as a user of paid AI tools, that you definitely, I absolutely get back the money that I paid, in many times over.
Yeah.
So really good feedback, Laura. That's Midjourney, is it?
Yes,
Yeah, so
Midjourney.
Laura, test out Midjourney. Another option might be actually to stick into ChatGPT or one of the LLMs that you'd like to do this as a question. You know that Midjourney does this. Are there any other tools out there? Because there are new tools coming out all the time, so that
Yeah.
might also be an opportunity. So I think there's been a couple of requests. To demonstrate the analytics. So I think that's something
Okay.
when we
Yeah.
move into the meeting, then I think that there's a few people that would be really keen to understand that one.
Okay.
So this is a question from Nick. So can AI software be integrated into email writing rather than copy and paste back into the email?
It can at the moment with Gemini and Copilot because they are owned by software providers such as Microsoft and Google. But it is limited, and I think it will get there over time. Google have got a lot of work to do, really, and Microsoft Copilot. Unfortunately, they're the only two that will allow you to integrate at the moment. And yeah, I can understand it is a bit of a pain when you've got to copy and paste text, but at the moment, the output will be better using a copywriting content generation tool. But it's personal preference at the end of the day. Some people use Copilot and think it's wonderful. I think because of my background, I can see the flaws. But to answer the question, that there isn't at this moment in time.
Okay, no, that's really useful. So we're just coming out to time, so I'm going to ask one more question, and then we will post up the link to the meeting. We apologise that we didn't get through all the questions. There are definitely still some outstanding, and so some will get answered. But also please vote in that poll. That's really helpful for us. Obviously, our intention will be to try and run another AI event, given the interest in the event, which was massively oversubscribed actually. So if you got a ticket, then you were definitely one of the lucky ones. So the final question is around security, and I think if you hear anything to do with AI, then usually security is also in there. So are there any security risks in uploading content into AI? And so the question is from Rebecca, and this is about whether, so if you were looking to use AI to summarize a report which might have some form of commercially confidential information, does this present a risk, and could the AI then display this information elsewhere?
So the short answer to that is yes. And that's why whichever model you're using, make sure you've gone into settings and turned the training off. And then it can't do anything with it. It can, and the other thing is as well, you can, especially in ChatGPT, there's an option in settings to turn on temporary chat. And that chat will only last while you're in it. It won't record it. It won't be down the left-hand side the next time you go in. But what I would say is if you do have any sensitive documentation whatsoever, don't put it into an LLM, because we can't really trust them 100% at the moment. But you can mitigate the risk by turning off the training in that setting. So I would definitely do that anyway. But if you've got something that you're concerned about or worried about, then I wouldn't pop it into any form of large language model, because it needs that data to train from.
Okay, brilliant feedback for that one. Yeah, so I would add to that one. Particularly, thinking about documents that are issued by government departments. So some of those will have commercially confidential statuses in there, and I think if you read some of the guidance around that, then by putting them into language models, then you are generally you're generally not complying with the requirements that are aligned to that. So just be aware of that one. I think Laura's feedback is there. Also, just read around the AI language models about how they do that, and make sure that you really understand that the what's going to happen to the data that you put in before you put it into the model. So. Right, I'm sorry that we haven't got through to everybody's questions. I thought that was a really brilliant session. So we are now going to open up the link to the meeting room. So if we can share that in the chat as well, if we can share the link into the chat, that would be great. So you should be able to see that. As people are starting to go through with that, just bear in mind that we're moving to a meeting format. So what that means is that Laura will be running through some more tips and tricks, but we'll be making sure that everybody else is on mute, and you need to use your hand if you'd like to ask a question. We prefer people to ask questions through the chat, and that session will be running from now or in the next few minutes through until just before 4 p.m. So please click through on the link with that one. So the link is now in there. So it's a Q&A kind of one-to-many mentoring session. So just bear in mind, if you get put onto mute, do not feel that you are being singled out. That's what we'll be doing for everyone, just to manage the number of participants in there. Also to note, any resources that will be coming out will be emailed out over the next day or so. We'll be emailing out the satisfaction survey for some more detailed feedback, and we would really welcome any feedback on that, any ideas, and also take a look at the other events. But other than that, we'd like to say a big thank you to Laura, a big thank you to all of the participants that have been attending. Thank you for all the questions, all the engagement. You can now head over to the mentoring session with the link is there. And then we will close the webinar in the next 2 minutes. So, big thank you.